You've probably watched a million videos like this and you've probably said, this is going to be the year I'm going to finally reach and achieve my goals. This is the video that you need to watch to actually achieve those goals, give you step by step what you need to do to reach your goals. Hi guys, welcome back to Ikram Aligned, where we talk about everything regarding manifestation, transformation, and just living a life that's aligned and heart-based. Yeah, it's self-development, but with a touch of self-love and self-care. This is actually the plan that I'm going to be following for 2025. I've taken aspects of this in the last couple of years, but I've really brought everything together that I've been learning and culminated all of this into one video. First thing that we're going to focus on is your mindset. Do you have an abundance or scarcity mindset? Are you someone that sees the negative in every aspect of your life? Or are you someone that is able to see the good? So even when something bad happens, you're able to say, okay, what can I take from this? How can I grow from this? Instead of just being like, here's just another example of why things don't work out for me, and continuing this type of victim mentality and scarcity mindset. One thing that's really helped me regarding mindset work in this case for an abundance mindset is having a gains list or wins list. So you want to take out your note app or somewhere that you're going to document this. I use the notes app on my iPhone, and what I do is I just start. So every single time something good happens to me throughout the year, I write it on this document. And it is incredible because anytime you're feeling sad or you feel like, I'm taking 2 steps forwards, 3 steps back or whatever, you can go to this document and you'll actually see that you've achieved so much. I used to be someone that was continuously moving the goalpost further and further away from myself, and then you would just get into this negativity loop, right? And our brains are naturally programmed for a negativity bias. This is something that is for our survival, but we don't really need that for everyday survival, right? I read this concept in the book The Gain and the Gap by Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan. It's an incredible book if you have time to read it. But the one thing that I got from reading this book is having a gains list. And I started this in the beginning of 2023, and my God, like at the end of 2023, I had almost 100 things on my list, and it was just so rewarding to see, because there were parts of 2023 where I really felt like I was failing, I was falling off, and being able to see all the achievements, all the wins that I've had throughout the year is such an incredible feat, and this will just enhance your abundance mindset. And honestly, what you focus on is what grows. So if you take anything from this video, honestly, you could forget about everything else. Just start a gains list, or you can call it a wins list. You decide what you want to call it, but be almost religious about adding it to it, whether it's every night, once a week, how often you want to add to this is up to you. Or we start sitting down and thinking about our goals for the year ahead and what we would like to change and how we would like to, level up or rebrand. So we really want to reflect on the year that's just passed. For the start of each new year, I have a word that I would like to go into. My word for 2024 was self-worth, because that's really something that I wanted to focus on. I really wanted it to be a year of introspection and working on building my self-worth from, the inside out, essentially. For my reflection for 2024, my word was integrating. And it ended up being, I had so many goals, so many things that I wanted to do. But what ended up happening for me in 2024, it was I needed to actually slow down and integrate everything that I've been learning, things that I like to add in my reflection in this document. I've been doing this since 2022. So I like to think about what are some podcasts that I've been listening to? What were some, people that have influenced me throughout the year? What are new thoughts and insights that I have from this past year? Also, what I wish I could have done better and what I did really well, because it's so easy to just focus on, I could have sat here and said, 2024 was a disaster because outside it doesn't look like a very productive year, but it was such a pivotal year for me of I really needed to slow down and to rest, and in order to integrate all of this knowledge, of all of this ideas of, you know, being more worthy, it meant going inward and finding and slowing down. In my case, I slowed down. I feel like my summer was channeling my inner grandma. I started gardening. I started baking from scratch again, and not baking for business. That's something I was doing previously, but like I closed down my baking business. I had 2 businesses or side hustles that I was trying to run on top of my job. And honestly, I quit both of them. Like I just had to put that aside and to really focus on myself and my growth and my mental health. And that meant for me slowing down and finding resonance and peace and really love in just being and the person that I am without all of that external validation. It's so important to reflect on the year past so that you can build on that, because if you're not building and you're not learning from your mistakes, then like honestly, what are you doing, right? So we want to learn from the mistakes. We want to learn in terms of like what went well and do more of that, and maybe avoid what didn't go so well. So in terms of reflecting, I want you to not just think about what you've done. Maybe it could be, you know, how you were in terms of your being. Were you able to embrace new aspects, new concepts? It's not just about here is what I can produce, here's what I've achieved, and therefore I'm worthy. There's some of the hardest work that we do is healing, and unfortunately that's not something that you can always see outright, and maybe you have nothing to show for it, but you've healed. And I truly believe that when we heal ourselves, we heal everyone around us, we heal our communities, we're healing, 7 generations back and hopefully the generations forward. So be kind with yourself when you're sitting down and reflecting. Really, really, really have lots of self-compassion and self-love as you write this down. So don't let your ego just try to tell you how horrible you were. Really do it from a place of love, and we want to grow from a place of love, not from a place of lack. You've reflected on some of your insights, what went well for you the year before, what you're proud of. You have your gains list, or you're gonna have that started. Now it's about having a roadmap. End of the day, if you don't have a clear guide and a map of where you're going, like how do you know when you've gotten there? The roadmap to me is so important. I did to start off this year is I just sat down and I made a list of all the goals that I wanted to potentially hit or do something. And then from that really long list, because it sometimes it could be a long list, I circled 3 of my top 3. So I was like, okay, here are my top 3 that let me circle back. Actually, even before I did my roadmap and all of this, I did a life audit. It's something I like to actually do several times throughout the year. I like to look at the different aspects of my life. So my relationships, money, finance, love, and how I'm doing, health, and kind of being like, okay. And I don't compare myself in terms of what the ideal is to other people. I compare this to what I would consider a 10 out of 10 would be in my life. And so I go from that, and then I think of, okay, what are some of those aspects I'd like to focus on and spend a bit more time on in the year. A life audit, if you've never done it before, there's many places. If you just Google life audit or the wheel of life, you'll come across different ways of doing this. I find that it's really helpful. I would definitely recommend it. With that, I have my life audit. I have written down all the goals, and you can go crazy, like write as many goals as you want, because you're not going to do all of them. And I want to stress that fact is we want this to be sustainable, holistic growth. I don't want you to go in 3 weeks into January and start hating yourself, right? So from everything from a place of kindness, self-compassion, and love. And then from my top 3, I really think about if I could only achieve one thing in this entire year and everything else, like nothing else worked, whatever, what would be the one thing that I would really make me so happy if I was able to get that? And then I'll star that as my main thing. And so throughout the year, that's something that's going to stay as my focus. I like to break down the year into quarter chunks. If you've ever read the book 12-Week Year, it's really good. It tells you how to shorten it instead of focusing on the whole year, because I feel like it could be a lot. I'm gonna post an image of my little roadmap. So I picked my top 3 for this year, and then I wrote and I thought about, okay, what are all the habits and all the action steps that are needed and is for me to achieve this in the next. And I set a goal that was pretty tangible. For example, I want to post 12 YouTube videos, which is like 1 video a week, which I think is doable. Next thing I have is to lose 12 pounds. And then the other thing is my spiritual health, and I want to focus on breath work. It's something that I've been saying I was going to do for so long, and I haven't. So those are my top 3. And really, if you'll notice, the third one is really minor. It doesn't require a lot of time and effort, 5 minutes a day for me. And this is what's going to be so important, is having what you're going to avoid. So in order to implement these habits, you can call it an anti-vision, you can call it like, what barriers are you going to implement? Because it is so easy for us to fall back into our old habits if we don't plan from them and we're not aware. And that's why I really like the reflecting. It's important to not just think about what you're going to implement, what the new habits are, but also what you're going to take out. What are some of the old habits that you're going to let go of? You let go of what is no longer serving you to get what you want to achieve. You need to have that written down, because you're just going to keep falling back into old habits if you don't have a plan. So a roadmap is a great place to start. And I like to break down my goals into 3-month increments, because I find that it's easier to focus. Otherwise I get very, very overwhelmed if I have to think of, because I want to travel, I want to go to Finland this summer, I want to do a road trip with my sisters this summer, and things that I would like to do throughout the year, but not in the first quarter. And so I think it's nice to just focus, and my top one, which is the YouTube, is the one that I'm starting off with right in the beginning of the year. And on this for too long is having a roadmap. We need to know where we're going. We want a clear map of where we want to go. Like anytime you want to transform, it's like, what do you want? Now that you have your roadmap, here is my little secret and something that I've been using a lot, and it is the power of visualization. If we want to go ahead and do quantum leaps in our lives, why only use our own energy and effort to get what we want when we can use the power of visualization in our lives? So think of it kind of like manifestation. We are manifesting whether or not you're someone that believes in it. You are manifesting all day, every day, whether you like it or not, but you can manifest for your benefit, for things that you actually want to see in your life. And what I really love about visualization is it only takes 5 to 10 minutes, and you can really sit down. So I like to do it twice a day, sometimes more, in the mornings and in the evening before I go to bed. And I like to think about, okay, so based on the goals that I have and where I would like to be, imagine seeing myself already there. I like to visualize, like, how would it feel? What am I seeing? How am I feeling in this situation? Like, really imagining, using all of and it's honestly, in the beginning, it's going to be hard to imagine. But over time, sometimes I just like to start with a feeling of like, a feeling of gratitude. Like, for example, you want to travel to Italy. How would it feel when you're in Rome and you're there, standing in front of the Colosseum? Like, what would that feel like? Imagine that feeling, and then imagine that feeling of gratitude that you would have, that you get to experience this. And so why not experience this now? And that's what you're doing. It's so powerful. It's something that I've been doing a lot for work, I've gotten, like, I would If you've heard of Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks or Abraham Hicks, they say the segment intending. And so before you do something, you kind of like set the intention of how it would go. And I've started doing this for so many aspects. Like anytime when I was going to the passport office, I was someone that was always like terrified that I would have a bad experience. They would be rude to me, like anything to do with like government agents, which is funny because I used to work for the government, but whatever. I had this trauma and this anxiety when it came to that. And this year I set this intention and I visualized how amazing it would be. It would be like kind of like meeting up with friends and having a nice chat and us just having a great time, and my passport picture would be so nice. And it was the easiest, the smoothest, the funnest experience. Like everything I imagined ended up happening on that day, and then some. Like I was giggling and talking to the woman, and we were talking like we were old friends. And while I was having this experience, I was looking at other people and I could see them being, some were very anxious, some were like in a rush, and I was like, oh my god, that was me. Just by setting this intention and I having had visualized how simple, easy, incredible, fun it was gonna be, that's exactly what's happened. And I've used this in so many other aspects of my life. Really swear by the power of visualization. You want to visualize daily, maybe even twice a day. It only takes 5 minutes. You can do it for less than that. I set a timer. I set like a 5-minute timer. I just close my eyes and I just imagine, and I really just feel all this goodness of love. And if you don't even know, just think about things that you love already, imagining great moments that you've had in your life and kind of having that and amplifying that and just having lots of gratitude. So power of visualization is going to be your secret. Power of visualization for 2025. Important is self-care and listening to your body. We can have all of these goals and set all of these intentions, but if we don't come from a place of alignment, of a place of listening to ourselves, of a place of efforting, and a place of lack, like it's not going to be a fun year for you. The thought of self-care in mind, one of my non-negotiables and rules for 2025 is Sundays are going to be my no work, my rest days. And as someone that is a high achiever, that always wants to be doing, I have to remind myself that it's like, nope, you need a day of nothing. It's something I started the last 3 or 4 months, and even at work, they know it. Like, no one calls me on a Sunday, no one asks me to come in on a Sunday. I am off. My phone is usually on do not disturb for the whole day, and you pick if maybe it's a half a day for you or it's a full day. A day of rest and a day to come back to yourself. Some other things that I am implementing in 2025 as part of my self-care routine is no work after 8 p.m., which is very hard for me. Like, it's okay if once in a blue moon I have to work, which it does happen. For the most part, no work after 8. A dedicated skincare routine. Like, it's something I've really started to enjoy, getting into my pajamas, really taking my time and enjoying my skincare process, especially at 37 now. Like, I want to take care of my skin and I want to take care of my body, and I see working out and eating healthy and my nutrition, and I see all of this as a self-love practice more than anything else. I truly believe that self-care and self-love is the antidote for our self-judgment and our sense of unworthiness. Something that has helped me in this past of really building up my self-worth was having these self-care and self-love practices and strategies. The reality is we don't have to do anything. We just have to be. And in any of the manifestation, I've read so many manifestation books this year, it's always about be, have, do. And you start off with being. Like, it's about being first. It's not always about doing. The more that you incorporate more self-care and self-love practices into your life, the less you're denying of who you are at your core. You get to come face to face to just be like, I love myself as I am, without needing to do or have anything else or be anything else. So we always want our growth to be from a place of love. This is what I'm doing for to rebrand, or to reach my goals in 2025. And I would love to know if you've tried any of these, or what you're doing for this year. What's your word for the year? Mine for 2025 is embrace, is embracing the truth within, is embracing the wisdom within, and just embracing all the love around me. And so embrace is my word for the year. I'm sure you're wondering, where's the vision board? Everyone has probably shared, do make a vision board. If you want one, do it. I always make myself a vision board, but I really think these 5 things that I stated is what really is going to make a difference, more than any vision board could do. The vision board is just like an added bonus if you want one. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.